We are going to review how to create or construct congruent angles using a compass. So we have given angle ABC, and the directions are to construct a congruent angle. So just like we did with the line segments, we are going to have to create a ray to work with for our constructions. Again, you'll need some sort of straight edge. It can be a ruler, a protractor, something to make it straight edge. I'm going to use this envelope because I have it near me, and I'm going to create a ray that is longer than either of the rays that are provided in our angle A, B, and C. Because it is a ray, it doesn't matter what direction you make it, we are going to put an endpoint here, and I'm going to label this end X, and you will also need your arrow to signal that it is a ray. The next thing that we need to do, it's also very similar to the first step in your line segments. We need to create an arc given angle ABC. We will start at our vertex B, and the only difference here is it does not have to be extremely exact. We're using some measurement. In your line segments, it had to be the exact measurement from one point to another, but because an angle is created by two rays meeting at a vertex, it does not have to be an exact measure. It has to be some measure. Now we want to make sure that we don't go too large so that we're creating a huge drawing, but we also don't want to make it too small that is difficult to see and work with. So I like to go for average, or somewhere in between. So now that I have my compass set for some measure, I'm going to put the tip of my compass at our vertex, and I'm going to create a radius measure or arc that goes through both of our rays. So I need a radius measure that goes through ray BA and a radius measure that continues across in an arc through ray BC. So you have something like that. Now I'm not moving my compass measure, I'm keeping it just as is, and I'm going to do the similar thing with our ray over here, where I will put our compass tip at X. And now, because I do not have another ray coming out of it, I'm going to need to make sure that my arc is large enough to fill the gap from our given angle. Semicircle usually works well. Here it is. We see that our first angle, ABC, appears to be acute, so I don't have to worry about making too large of an arc here. However, if you were to be given an angle that is larger, like this one, you're going to need to make sure that when you are constructing another one that is congruent, that your arc is large enough to fill that gap. So now that we have our arc drawn in ABC, it crossed our ray at this point here. I always put these points here so I don't forget to do this. And it also crossed our ray at this point here. Now because we just drew a ray, we have to now figure out the distance between point on this ray and point on this ray. To do so, it's very similar to everything else. And you put your tip at this point of your compass, and you make sure that your other end point hits this point here. Now to signal that you've actually done this, make another arc here. I always like to do both sides to double check my work. So I will also create an arc here, knowing that now, yes, this is my measure. I will now take it over here to create my distance between my two rays from an angle. I will start at the point here where my radius measure crossed the ray that I drew, and then I will be assured to make an arc where it connects. I now created another point here, of which I will draw my second ray of my angle that starts at my X and goes through the point that I just created. So now I have angle X, or Y, X, and Z. If you want to double check your work to make sure that they're equal, you can do so with your compass by checking that this distance is the same as this distance here. If it has the same opening, you can rest assured that it will be the same. Also, if you have a protractor handy, you can measure the angle here and then do the same thing over here to make sure that your angle measures are equal. Now, to make sure that you get the full point on your test, you will definitely need to make sure that you have your arc here that goes through both your rays from your given angle ABC. You will need to make sure that you draw a ray to start with, as well as create an arc that goes through this ray and extends long enough for you to be able to make another ray to create an angle. You will also receive a point for the arcs here that measure the distance between our two rays and our angle, and you will receive another point here for assuring that you made another connection here and drew your ray through. So now we've now constructed an angle using our compass that is congruent to our given angle ABC, and we created an angle that is congruent Y, X, Z.